Commissioner Bennett and his Chief of Office staff. And in that meeting, the Professional Ethics Division, who should have been part, was never in that meeting. And those who they copy in that communication, and those serve as the enforcement manager, and he was those that I supervised, because I supervised three managers: the enforcement manager, the council record manager, and that of the evaluation manager. And in that meeting, Doe was not in the meeting. I asked, but why is Doe not in the meeting when Doe is the one who should provide clarity? Because Victor C. wrote a complaint against me, and Victor Bossman is Thomas Doe, and Doe is the enforcement manager. And in order to have the division more effective, Doe recommended in terms of a mechanism to see how other staff could play a role, so that Bernie can be only on him as an enforcement manager. And so we agreed that there will be staff that will be responsible to take the rest of the team on the field by getting the field, checking on the cars, and making sure all those things that are required for the field are ready. Ensure that we have that person will serve as the operational person, and we have another person with technical work in terms of having that person to do technical reporting for the enforcement section. And so we needed to win that meeting to provide the clarity, because Victor was also accusing me of his substance function. And he said to me, I even got revenue number and gave the revenue number to his subordinate. And what Victor failed to understand is that I'm the assistant commissioner who is responsible to ensure that we generate the revenue number, and I get the revenue number from my boss on the domestic tax department, and I ensure that the different teams go on the field to collect the revenue. So I supervise that. I'm responsible for the operation. So Victor accused me, but when the strategic meeting, Victor did not show up for the meeting. And so I told management that Victor, even Honorable Bennett, that Victor had not been showing up for the meeting, and the information was provided to the team to act. And so how can Victor be accusing me when I'm the one who run the affairs? And he said, as far as I'm concerned, this is a plan and clever attempt by you and Commissioner Tari to send Victor to PED for persecution, but this will never happen. And I can assure you that Victor will not go. I will persecute you. And he said it to me, that he will persecute me. So I asked him, for what reason? He said, Pendasi wrote a communication against you for you receiving money, and not effecting the payment. I said, how will I receive and effect it against an illegitimate document? For example, the situation with this taxpayer that wanted a statement of property valuation. The taxpayer came in and went and got somebody to put in the system of 6 million value in the system. And I pick it up. We tried to do the draft document, and it came around about 5:30. Sometimes you want to provide a service to the taxpayer. You don't want, you will do it after banking time, you will do it after working time, because we say 5 o'clock. But when you're in office and you want to ensure that taxpayer get the kind of service, so I created a condition where I could stay and start the work. While working on the work, one of my staff were asked to check the system to see whether he had any information in the system, so that we can do a statement of property valuation. And anybody can write for a statement of property valuation. That means we want to confirm the value of the property in our system. And so we started the draft work, in which we did. And when I signed the draft work, because Commissioner Taro, who was immediate part, was out of the country, and so Margaret Koto was the one who was acting in capacity and needed to sign. So Margaret received the document, but then when Margaret signed the document, but then later on, Margaret sent the document up to me. If there's somebody went and photocopy a document before bringing it to me and give it to them. And but you know, if somebody write for a statement of property valuation, the institution will give an original copy, isn't it? And so when the document came out and then Commissioner, they will follow Mark and say, oh no, tell ECJB to carefully look. It is a residential property, not even commercial. Or residential property for 6 million. And then it drew my attention. Then I said, okay, then we'll continue the investigation the next day. So but initially he said he brought money to make payment against the facility. So I said no. If you have to make the payment against the facility, it has to be your outstanding ability for us, because we get yet to run query around the 6 million property. The next day when I did the investigation, I found out deeper information came from there. That property existed as a vacant land first for $700. Then it went to $300,000. Then $1.5 million. We all any supporting document. We all any photo. We all any deed. We all any document in terms of enrollment into the system. And then that property also, looking at the value, never have any document approved, because if even you have a property of 6 million, this is a huge amount for residential property. Then means that should be a big property. And if you trace it, it will referring to the $700 will referring to the scene location, the 300,000 will referring to the scene location, the 1.5 million, the scene location, the 6 million with different ID for the scene location. How possible? So it became questionable, and so I provided the information to Commissioner Tare, and then we voted it. And so he said he wanted to use the money against the 6 million. I said, no, we have to use it against the arrears on our books. If you don't, then it means I will return the money, because I cannot use it against a illegitimate document that I've been voted. And so on that basis, I returned it for and voted the document. And so if they claim that the young man had a document against us, which is a photocopy, because it cannot be original, because we must issue our original on our letter here with my signature, Commissioner signature, which they cannot produce. They cannot produce, because if they have evidence, then they should produce it through the insurance company they went to. But interestingly, the insurance, there was a letter that came to my boss when I was on leave, indicating that they wanted clarity concerning a bond of 4 million. So can you imagine, you even went for another a bond of 4 million, now you need the 6 million. And to the utmost surprise, if you were taking a bond of 6,000 or 6 million, then you must pay a tax amount of $15,000, because 6 million times a residential property rate of 0.025 represent 15,000. So instead of paying 15,000, they want to pay 1,500. But guess what happened? They put the property in the system February 17, 2023 of the 6 million. 3 months after, March, April, May 6, they voided the 6 million property and then put in 600,000. And then all of the information I did due diligence, and I got the supporting documents and provided them to the Professional Ethics Division. And the Professional Ethics Division is conducting the investigation. So all of those things, while in the meeting against these guys who have been cooperating the system, Commissioner Bennett, Deputy Commissioner Bennett, see this as going after his person of interest. And as a result, he decided to go after my neck by suspending me for gross insubordination and misconduct. How can you suspend somebody for gross insubordination and misconduct when you abuse me, openly insulted me, intimidated me, and say in the meeting when I told you that, but those needed me, say, don't tell me foolishness, that don't need it not to be in the meeting. I'm the DCGAA, I can determine what goes on in this meeting, and not you. So I told him, Chief, it seems to be the meeting is taking a different trend, because we should be looking at the complaint. But I see that it seems to be you people trying to intimidate me and trying to find means to see where you can put me into trouble. And then he said,
so we want to ask a few questions, because the explanation is good. The followers are going along and they are hearing you for unearthing these things. One, we want to know how long you've been at the LRA or in this particular position, and how long has these things been happening?
This is my 3rd year in the Liberia Revenue Authority.
Your 3rd year?
This is 3rd year, and serving as the Assistant Commissioner for Real Estate Tax Division. I lastly came from the Ministry of Finance and Development Planning as the Director for Planning Development and Coordination, leading on the National Development Plan. I even led on the development of the proper agenda for prosperity and development. I was recruited by Madam Salif under the SES program, the Senior Executive Service Professional. And so I saw somebody who believed in honesty. I saw somebody who discipline and believe in results. I don't like people who corrupt system. And that's the reason why, working in the Real Estate Tax Division, I've been trying to ensure that the Real Estate Tax Division is more refined in terms of doing what is required of the taxpayer and providing the kind of services and raising the kind of revenue. And that's the reason why in 2020 and 2021 I entered the Real Estate Tax Division. I collected one of the highest revenue in real estate tax. So if Commissioner Bennett, if Honorable Bennett would accuse me, of insubordination.
And who is the Bennett person?
Bennett is the Deputy Commissioner General for Administrative Affairs. So if Bennett would accuse me, how will I be collecting huge revenue for LRA? Because I'm trying to fight corruption. I'm trying to get malpractices out of the system. And you know it's difficult to fight corruption because people who encourage corruption will never want to see people fighting corruption. And you will know that when you fight corruption, these are the circumstances.
Because is this because of your stand that you've undertaken over the time at LRA? Is this something that they try to get at you?
Definitely. And because you have people of personal interest you want to protect, he doesn't want them to be investigated.
What have the Commissioner General in person of Commissioner Thomas Doe now? What have you said with regards to all of these things that has been happening?
Unfortunately, Commissioner General Thomas Doe is not well.
Okay.
And so the Deputy Commissioner General for Technical Affairs, Honorable Gabriel Montgomery, is the one in his stead. And Honorable Montgomery has said, as my enforcement manager, when I was in the capacity as Assistant Commissioner for Real Estate Tax Division, and so he knows fully well that I stand for principles. I believe in unearthing those things that we call eroding our revenue in LRA. He strongly knows that I don't like to compromise corrupt practices, and so I mean, in my mind, instead of him getting involved into the process, he have left it with Bennett, and Bennett is deciding the fate.
Well, a lot of people have attesting to your integrity, what you stand for at the level of the LRA. Over time, with regards to the health condition, for which we don't want to talk about with the Commissioner General, but there has been this news about a lot of malpractices, alleged malpractices, been taking place at the level of the LRA. Commissioner Bennett, Gabriel Montgomery, because these were the two guys who had been appointed by the president to head this critical position at LRA. Is it something that they've been doing behind the scene over time?
Look, the records are there, and the records will prove. We have the Professional Ethics Division who can provide all of this information on people malpractices. And I can tell you clear cut, if the government, because this government who have won the election can even ask the Professional Ethics Division, the Assistant Commissioner, Sumo Calabi, his office have all of the relevant information to provide a lot of people so they can know that we need to stop corrupting our system. Because we're undermining revenue. There are a lot of people who are suffering. I come from a development background. And what people do not understand, I work in the counties. And I see to what extent people are suffering in the business social services. I need that for them. And that's some of the reason why I was asked to work at the Liberia Revenue Authority.
Well, before my colleague come in, there have been this question being asked that what is it now that you're taking on this, that you're trying to let the public know about what is obtaining? It is that you are being suspended. That's why you're bringing this on now.
No, it's not that because I've been suspended, I'm bringing it on now. I've been trying to unearth, and all of these matters have been before the Professional Ethics Division. The Professional Ethics Division has been conducting investigation. One of the investigations I made reference to was Councillor George B. Calando, and they came up with findings, and the parties that were involved, like Evan Kula, Felicia, and Dennis, and Thomas Doe, they admitted to the act. So there are others who the Professional Ethics Division, they are also carrying on investigation. But the interesting thing that it has to do with Victor C.A. The Victor C.A. man is supposed to go for investigation because he brought in an illegal property also in the system. But Commissioner Bennett does not want for Victor to be sent to the ARO. Is even holding on to the document to be sent to PED for investigation. All of these supporting documents are with also PED. But the signal need to go to PED for investigation, which I'm not giving you.
So finally, we don't want to take most of your time. What do you want to see happen now? But mind you, you have been suspended allegedly. How did you receive your suspension letter, and on what background were you suspended? What was contained in the letter, saying that you are suspended?
It was an unfortunate situation because we had a meeting on Thursday, November 16, and then Bennett asked me to leave his office, and your boss man can shout on you and intimidate you and humiliate you and tell you leave his office. Or honestly, God in heaven, I never said nothing to Honorable Bennett. On no condition were I do sin. But because perhaps he was angry for the fact that I told him that I realized that the meeting is shooting in a different direction.
He's suspending you for 1 month
He
without
suspended me
pay.
for 1 month without pay. And
It
unfortunately,
is a malice.
yeah, I want to believe because he realized that there are persons or there are people that he wants to protect, and he doesn't want PD to investigate, and so he tried to intimidate me. He tried to put me under pressure to succumb to the demands, and I'm not prepared to do it.
Can the Professional Standard Division over 10 days, if were there to be an investigation over wrongful suspension?
In fact, he had no right to suspend me. The professional, the HRMP, the Human Resource Management Policy of January 2015, Section 13 clearly states that it is the professional ethics and division who has the responsibility to conduct investigation, even for misconduct. So he had no right to suspend. He should allow them to investigate me. And if I'm guilty, they'll suspend. And in fact, he had no right under 13.1, under procedure, he had no right to say immediately you are effective, immediately you are suspended. Because the section says that he cannot immediately suspend. That person should be informed ahead of the suspension. That person should be able to exonerate themselves. So he violated the standard operating procedure, the HR management policy. And the records are there to prove. The policy is available to look through. And these are the things that are taking place in the area where people will take decisions against you because you're trying to fight malpractices. To the utmost surprise, he sent an email. He sent the suspension letter via social media, which is the WhatsApp. And I didn't even know. While looking through my WhatsApp, as usual, I saw this communication. I read through it. It was through his instruction from the HR of suspension of insubordination and misconduct.
Which was not an appropriate channel
that was
to
not the
serve
appropriate channel because the HR should have taken that document to me and I signed for it in my office. And I was at LRA on Nassim, November 17.
Are you feared for your life?
I'm not afraid. I'm not afraid, and the reason why I'm not afraid because I fight corruption and the rest of the people be safe, and the social services that we provide our people that deal with have life.
What have other people said about this suspension? All of colleagues of yours.
A lot of our colleagues, they are saying that the management was wrong for suspending me, and management know that I'm trying to unearth some of the malpractices and improprieties that are taking place in the real estate tax division. But Benin has been noted for grossly disrespecting people and insulting them. I'm not the only person. So let me show you this letter. Yeah. This letter in my hand has to do with Calando. When Calando took the fraudulent tax receipt from LRA, this letter was written by the Honorable Commissioner General Thomas Dorna, wherein the tax letter was revoked for the fact that it was fraudulent taking.
And you were the same person who
unearthed. And I was the same person who unearthed this. And the records are there. And PED can prove it. And Commissioner Tarek, who is the Commissioner for Domestic Tax Department, can also prove it.
Wow. Now, I want to ask you about your security. Do you feel safe? Because we know the story of auditors, and people who unearth financial malpractices at government institutions, and now you are coming on with this staggering document and allegation of financial impropriety as LRA. Do you feel safe?
I know looking at the situation in my life will not be in peace. It may be threatened. But let me tell people one thing, and people who know me, I stand for principles. I'm not afraid. I'm a Christian, and I believe in one thing. You will kill me today, but you will not take away the truth. And the truth must be filled. And so people must now begin to know what is happening at LRA. And people must begin to see how corrupt practices in eroding the revenue of our country, that we can make it, we can reach the 1 billion we've been talking about. But because of these malpractices and corruption that is taking place, is undermining our revenue. Such that these basic social services that should be reaching our people cannot reach them. Why should we have road that the people of the South East should have access to good road network? Why should basic social services in terms of those things, infrastructure, of health and education shouldn't reach them? The reason why? Because these are some of the problems that are occurring. someone must sacrifice for the rest of the people to survive. You are prepared to. And I can tell you, I'm exercising due professional care. At the same time, caution. I'm watching my back. And I'm not afraid, and I know that I'm protecting myself, and with God above, nothing going to happen, but the people must know the truth. And I pray that this new government will investigate every one of them that is corrupting the country, so that they will be brought to book, and the Liberian people will reap what due them.
So it got me to come to this question that long before, many economists have been talking about a projection of Liberia budget to 1 billion or so. So do you think Liberia can target that 1 billion if all the necessary revenues are generated with sincerity?
Because there was target.
Look, I can tell you this. I run the real property tax division. I can tell you, real property is a low-hanging fruit. We just need the support. We just need to ensure that we strengthen the laws and ensure enforcement is put into place. Every property in the country, when you register them, you can collect taxes and we can reach the 1 billion mark just from real property, not even other tax kinds. I had the opportunity to go to America. What are the two key drivers in America? Real property tax and sales tax. And real property is key because it's not movable. So the land is there, the building on the land is available. And so we can collect taxes on all of those things. But are we sincere? No. We are not sincere.
So just on real property, we can collect 1 billion tax.
Exactly. Because all of the properties are around us.
Aside from extra importation of goods and taxes from importation, just real property.
Exactly. Let me tell you, just in recent time, I've gotten support for the expansion of real property in Monrovia County. I launched a real property pilot in Monrovia County. We managed to bring in the tax there over 12,136 properties. Can you imagine this? I mean, 12,536 property in the tax there. Can you imagine they representing over $400,000 in the tax net? We just looking for additional support to complete my giving. And that support came from the Ministry of Finance and Development Planning. We have started the expansion into Grand Bassa County with support for the Swedish government through the NDP. If we expand into our counties, we will be increasing our tax net, we'll be increasing our collection, we'll be increasing our revenue. And what do you think? We'll have the opportunity to provide business social services to our people. But we'll have people corrupting the system. How can we generate revenue? And that has been the business as usual, that people try to put money into their pocket. And then people up there try to protect them because they are of personal interest.
So finally from me, if a systematic audit is carried out at the real property estate tax window at the Ministry of Finance or LRA, how much you think will be unearthed from people just squandering or siphonning, money that's supposed to go to government revenue and it's going to their pocket?
You'll be surprised. Not only real estate tax division, you'll be surprised. The whole LRA, even including custom, even MISD, people are manipulating the system. People working with people in real estate tax division, along with people in MISD to corrupt the system, put in false receipts in the system, get fraudulent tax credits out of the system, and people just honor money revenue. And these are the things that are trying to unearth. My commissioner, Daniston Talare, is a witness. He knows that we're trying to fight the improprieties. So if you think I'm lying, speak with him. If you think I'm lying, speak with the Professional Ethics and Division Assistant Commissioner Suma Kabali. They will tell you.
And Talare is not in support of what is happening.
He's not. In fact, Commissioner Talare is supporting me because he knows that corrupt practice is taking place and we're trying to unearth it. He's also telling management that they are in violation of the HRMP. But he's a commissioner, and they are deputy commissioner for technical.
So lastly, from my end, what will you say? Were you to do a comparison? I know that you said that you work over 3 years now with the Liberia Revenue Authority. I'm quite sure whether did you work under the time of Frida Tamba? Were you there at the time?
Unfortunately, I was not there.
Okay, so you cannot recall what go on there. But
and that's the reason why we start about fighting corruption. Because you were tough on fighting corruption, and that was some of the reasons why they were trying to get her on. People don't like people who are straight to ensure that the right things are done. They fought to get her on. But I think in my mind, she was a good leader. because she wanted to put the system into play and make sure who all were corrupt, action were taken against them.
Wow.
Okay, we'd like to say thank you.
Yeah, maybe you are founder. Yeah, as a founder.
Were you at Abbey Bank?
I used to work, interestingly, for LBDR, the Liberia Bank for Development Investment. I also worked for IB Bank, International Bank in Liberia. And I rose through the rank and files as an ordinary contractor to a vice president and credit manager and also a portfolio manager. And guess what? Interestingly, when I was in LBDR, they gave me non-performing loans. I turned all the non-performing loans to performing loans. When I went to IB Bank, they gave me, I was responsible to turn the portfolio because 99% of IB portfolio, IB Bank loan portfolio, was non-performing. And then we were at a point of closure. The central bank was about to seize IB Bank because the bank was insolvent and the bank capitalization was below the threshold. And I managed to work to help turn the bank around. And having someone who became the fact we worked together, he was the controller and then he became the president of the bank. You can ask him. He will tell you, I'm an honest person. I'm someone who believes in making system work.
Don't play on the viewers are.
Yeah, because most of what we've been saying, they've been testifying to your integrity, how good you are.
Let me ask one more question. Did you work at the National Food Authority?
Yes. And interesting.
These are questions coming from the public.
Yes, I worked at the National Food Authority because I was a student leader. I served as the chairperson for the Job Internship Committee of the Accounting Student Association. I also became Speaker of the University of Liberia. I was a senior class representative. And then in that capacity as chairperson of the Job Internship Committee, I placed 36 students on job training. First in the history, I made myself last. Professor Sonin was the chairperson. He can attest to you. He can attest to that. And I placed myself last with people on the committee. The last one to go was the National Food Authority.
Well, lastly, I wouldn't ask any further question, but the president-elect is coming on board. He will be taking over on office in January. He's coming to meet, perhaps a lot of people may think, a huge challenge. Now, LRA is of no exception, where revenue are being raised and collecting lawful revenue. Were you to make recommendation, were you to recommend to him, what would you say?
I would like to.
You president.
Our president, Joseph Burger. That's the wish of the Liberian people. And he has the gavel to help turn this country around. Not that president, we couldn't do it. But one of the shortcomings of our president, is that he couldn't take action against his people. I come from a development background. If somebody tell me that Manaseli did not do anything, I'll frown on them because I know to what extent she helped to reconstruct Liberia. If somebody tell me we have not done anything, then I frown on them because there are some things she have done in terms of turning our country around. But the people around we are the ones who frustrated him because they misled him. And we pray that Honorable Joseph Burger, president-elect by the people of Liberia, will begin to look and investigate, establish a team to audit the land ministry and agency, including the Liberia Revenue Authority. Look, the Liberia Revenue Authority is responsible for generating revenue of this whole country. And with all revenue, those social services, those basic social services that need our people will not reach them. Those roads that we need to reconstruct and develop. Building our infrastructure, building and providing basic social services in terms of the sewage, the water, the health facilities, and the schools will never reach our people if the revenue is not being generated. So LRA should be a key area to ensure we have the kind of people that are honest. Audit must be conducted. Those people who are found corrupt will be investigated, and action should be taken without any favor. Fairness and justice should take place. And I'm sure if we do sin, the Liberian people will yield him for some of the good that did not take place. And we look forward for him taking action in that direction.
Okay, well, it's just unfortunate that we don't have much time, but we we know sincerely that you got more to say in relation to unearthing malpractices at the LRA, and revenue is the bedrock of the economy, of moving the country forward. Without revenue, you cannot pay civil servant, you cannot develop the country. So, Mr. James Afi Chebe, we have to say thank you so much for speaking to the media, and it was a pleasure having you. You want to say one more thing?
Yeah, let me give a parting word.
Yeah.
First of all, I'd like to say thank you to my lawyer who represented my interest, Councillor Julito Masikwa of the International Law firm. And Councillor Masikwa, in fact, after the letter was served to me as insubordination of misconduct and suspended for 1 month without pay, I wrote a communication to Councillor Masikwa, and Councillor Masikwa wrote a letter to the LRA for retraction, meaning to retract the letter. If not, we will pursue legal action. And I'm prepared for us to go to court. I'm prepared, and I'm asking, I'm appealing to my lawyer, let's go to court. Let's go to court. Somebody was faced the weight. Let us be proving that Deputy Commissioner General Honorable Bennett wrongly acted with all nothing I did to him. Bennett cannot swear upon his children. I don't know whether he's a Christian, I doubt it, because he will not even swear on his communion.
Upon his life.
Yes.
No, it's true.
But he cannot, if Bennett loves his children, he will not stand before you and tell you that I insulted him or I ran across his subordination. That young insulted me. And that first time. And one time he did similar thing when one of my managers, he invited us to his office similarly. And he ran a harsh voice, intimidated us, and said he was supporting Commissioner Dole and supporting him. As a result, he even asked us out of his office. And this time around, it was 3 times he asked me off. I did not go. He said, if I don't leave you, call the security to put me on. And on that basis, I left quietly. And Manager Solasco Nina said she was not leaving, and she with me. But I didn't want to tell and I left. And she's a witness to that. She can attest to it. So I'd like to say thank you to the general public. The message must go out. The people have the right to know that corrupt practices are taking place, and we are prepared to unearth. And this government has the right to investigate, and I call on them to investigate. God bless the people of Liberia. God bless Liberia. Thank you.
Well, thank you so much.
Thank you so much,
Mr.
Mr. Afi Javid. And my name is Haji Masale, saying thanks so much to our viewers across the world for watching Spoon TV. Remember, we are dishing out Liberia best, and this country must be rescued. Thanks for watching.